Admiral Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the blue and green planet below. Earth hung in space like a broken toy. 3 years had passed since the Coalition forces had bombed every human city into ash and dust. The planet was quiet now. No radio signals, no ship traffic, no signs of life. "Beautiful, isn't it?" said Commander Zilkan, walking up beside him. "Hard to believe such a peaceful world once threatened our entire galaxy." Vextar nodded slowly. His reptilian scales shifted color slightly, showing his satisfaction. The humans were growing too fast, too smart, too dangerous. We did what we had to do. The massive alien fleet hung in orbit around Earth like metal vultures. Ships from 3 different species worked together in the Coalition. The Vorthak Empire brought their heavy battleships. The Nexari Collective added their crystal technology. The Zephyrian swarms provided countless smaller attack craft. Together, they had ended the human threat before it could destroy them all. "Sir, we're getting reports from the outer colonies," Zilkan said, reading from his tablet. "Trade routes through this system are working perfectly. No pirate attacks. No rebel activity. The peace we created is holding." Vextar smiled, showing his sharp teeth. 3 years ago, humans had been spreading across the galaxy like a plague. They built colonies on worlds no other species could live on. They made friends with everyone they met. Worst of all, they learned new technology faster than anyone thought possible. In just 50 years, they had gone from simple farming to faster-than-light travel. They were becoming too strong. The other species had tried to limit human expansion through trade deals and laws. Nothing worked. Humans just kept growing, kept learning, kept building. They said they came in peace, but their warships grew bigger each year. Their colonies spread further each month. Soon, they would be unstoppable. So the Coalition had acted first. The bombardment had lasted 3 days. Every major city on Earth was hit by plasma bombs. Every spaceport was destroyed. Every military base was turned to glass. The few human ships in space had tried to fight back, but they were outnumbered 1,000 to 1. It was over quickly. "Any word from the cleanup crews?" Vextar asked. "They finished last week," Zilkan replied. "All human technology has been removed from the major trade worlds. Their colonies have been absorbed by our member species. Their research stations have been shut down. There's nothing left of them." Vextar walked to the front of the bridge. Through the large window, he could see Earth's moon hanging in the distance. "What about Luna Base? Any activity there?" "Nothing, sir. Our scans show it's completely dead. Has been, since the bombardment. Whatever humans were there, died when Earth's power grid went down. The Coalition had been careful. They knew humans had spread to many worlds. But most of their important people lived on Earth. Their government, their military leaders, their best scientists, all lived on the homeworld. When Earth died, human civilization died with it. Or so they thought. Captain Joram pulled his small trading ship out of hyperspace near Earth's moon. He was a Nexari, his crystal body glowing softly in the dark of his cockpit. Like all his species, he could sense energy patterns that others couldn't. And right now, he was sensing something very strange. "Computer, run a deep scan of Luna Base," he said. "Scanning," the computer replied in its calm voice. "Results show. This is odd." "What's odd about it?" "The base appears dead from the outside. No power signatures, no heat sources, no radio activity. But there are quantum resonance patterns suggesting active technology deep underground." Joram frowned. He had been trading in this system for 2 years since the human extinction. Earth was a convenient stop for ships traveling between the inner and outer colonies. The Coalition allowed traders to use the empty system as a rest point. But no one was supposed to actually explore the dead human facilities. "How deep underground?" he asked. "At least 2 kilometers. The readings are very faint. I could be wrong." Joram thought about it. Probably just leftover technology slowly dying. Human machines were known to last a long time. But something about the readings bothered him. They were too regular, too organized. Set course for Luna Base. I want a closer look. Captain, Coalition regulations prohibit landing on former human installations without special permits. I know the regulations. I also know curious traders sometimes have accidents that require emergency landings. The computer paused. Shall I create a minor engine failure in our logs? Good idea. As his ship moved toward the gray moon, Joram couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him. The energy readings were getting stronger as he got closer. Whatever was down there, it was big. And it was definitely still working. Luna Base looked exactly like the pictures from 3 years ago. A collection of white domes and metal towers on the moon's surface. Everything was dark and covered in space dust. It looked like a graveyard. But as Joram's ship landed, his sensors picked up something impossible. There were life forms down there. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. Deep underground. Hidden behind layers of rock and metal. His ship touched down near the main entrance. Through his window, he could see the airlock door was closed and sealed. Everything looked abandoned. Computer, are you sure about those life form readings? Positive, Captain. I detect at least 3,000 individual biological signatures, approximately 2.1 kilometers below the surface. Joram sat back in his pilot's seat. 3,000 beings. Hidden under Luna Base for 3 years. But that was impossible. The humans were extinct. Everyone knew that. The Coalition had made sure of it. Unless they hadn't. Unless the humans had somehow survived. And if they had survived, what had they been doing for 3 years, while the galaxy thought they were dead? Joram looked at his communication panel. He should report this to Coalition Command immediately. This was exactly the kind of discovery that could restart the war. But as he reached for the radio, he stopped. What if the humans weren't preparing for war? What if they were just trying to survive? What if the Coalition had made a terrible mistake? He sat in his ship for a long time, looking at the dead-seeming base around him. Deep below, 3,000 human beings were alive and hidden, and very soon, he would have to decide what to do about it. Joram made his choice. He put on his environment suit and walked across the gray dust to Luna Base's main airlock. The door was sealed, but his trading license gave him access to abandoned facilities for emergency supplies. When he placed his crystal hand on the scanner, the door opened with a soft hiss. The inside of the base was dark and cold. His suit's lights showed corridors filled with floating dust and debris. Everything looked exactly like an abandoned facility should look. But his sensors still showed thousands of life forms, somewhere far below. He walked deeper into the base, following the map on his suit's display. The elevators were shut down, but he found a maintenance shaft that led downward. As he climbed down the metal ladder, he noticed something strange. The walls were clean. No dust. No debris. Someone had been maintaining these lower levels. After climbing for 10 minutes, he reached a door marked, Restricted Access. Emergency personnel only. When he touched the scanner, nothing happened. The door was locked from the inside. Joram stood there for a moment, thinking. Then he knocked. The response was immediate. Alarms started blaring. Red lights flashed in the corridor. Heavy footsteps echoed from behind the door. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Luna Base Command," came a voice through the door's speaker. "Identify yourself immediately, or we will consider you hostile." Joram almost fell off the ladder. A human voice. A living human being. "My name is Captain Joram of the trading vessel Star's Edge," he said quickly. "I detected energy readings and came to investigate. I'm not military. I'm just a trader." There was a long silence. Then, the door opened. The woman facing him was tall and stern, wearing a military uniform that looked much more advanced than what humans had worn 3 years ago. Her dark skin was marked with scars, and her eyes held the kind of coldness that came from seeing too much death. "You're Nexari," she said. "Yes. Captain, I thought all humans were dead," the Coalition said. The Coalition said many things. Admiral Chen stepped aside, letting him enter. Most of them were lies. Joram walked into a corridor that was fully lit and obviously active. Human soldiers moved past them, carrying equipment and supplies. Everything was clean, organized, and very much alive. "How many of you survived?" he asked. "Enough," Chen said simply. "Follow me. There are things you need to see." She led him through a series of corridors and elevators. As they walked deeper into the base, Joram saw more and more humans. They all looked busy and focused. Many wore military uniforms, but others were clearly scientists and engineers. 3 years ago," Chen said as they walked, "our deep space monitoring stations detected Coalition fleet movements 6 hours before the attack began. 6 hours isn't much time, but it was enough." "Enough for what?" "Enough to evacuate most of Earth's population to the moon and our outer colonies. Enough to make it look like everyone died. Enough to disappear." They reached a large elevator that took them even deeper underground. When the doors opened, Joram gasped. The chamber beyond was enormous. Thousands of humans worked at computers and control stations. Massive screens showed star charts and fleet positions. In the center of the room, a holographic display showed the entire galaxy with hundreds of blinking lights. "Welcome to New Earth Command," Chen said. "This is where we've been planning our response." "Response to what?" Chen looked at him with those cold eyes. "To genocide, Captain. To the murder of our home world. To the lie that we were a threat when all we ever wanted was peace." Joram stared at the activity around him. "How many colonies do you have?" Before the attack, humanity had settled 47 worlds. The Coalition knew about 12 of them. The other 35 have been building ships and weapons for 3 years. "Ships? What kind of ships?" Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "The kind that the Coalition has never seen. We learned something important when they attacked us, Captain. We learned that being peaceful and friendly makes other species think you're weak. We learned that hiding your true capabilities is sometimes necessary for survival." She led him to one of the large screens. It showed technical drawings of warships that looked nothing like the vessels humans had used 3 years ago. These were sleek, deadly, and covered with weapons he couldn't identify. "For 50 years, Chen continued, we held back our military technology. We didn't want to scare anyone. We shared our farming methods, our medicine, our art. We thought if we were helpful and peaceful, everyone would accept us." "You were wrong," Joram said quietly. "Yes, we were wrong. The more helpful we became, the more scared they became. They saw us learning faster than they did, adapting quicker than they did, and they decided we had to die." Dr. Kim Min-jun looked up from his workstation as Admiral Chen approached with their unexpected visitor. The Korean scientist had aged 10 years in the past 3, his hair now completely gray despite being only 40. The death of Earth had driven him to work 18 hours a day, developing new weapons and defenses. "Admiral," he said, nodding to Joram. "Is this wise? Showing him everything?" "Captain Joram has a choice to make," Chen replied. "He can return to the Coalition and report what he's found here, or he can help us." "Help you do what?" Joram asked. Dr. Kim stood up from his station. On his screen were weapon designs that made Joram's crystal body pulse with nervous energy. "Help us show the galaxy what happens when you try to exterminate the human race. Repin. C. 1. You're planning to attack Coalition worlds?" "We're planning to defend ourselves," Chen said firmly. "And to make sure this never happens again. To anyone." Joram looked around the command center. Thousands of humans working with quiet efficiency. Screens showing fleets moving through space. Weapons being built on distant worlds. All of it hidden from the galaxy that thought humanity was extinct. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Chen handed him a datapad. Coalition fleet movements. Supply routes. Defense patterns. Everything you know about how their forces are positioned. That would be treason against my own species. Your species committed genocide, Dr. Kim said harshly. They murdered 8 billion innocent people because they were afraid of us becoming too strong. What loyalty do you owe to murderers? Joram held the datapad in his crystal hands. He thought about the celebration when Earth went silent. He remembered how happy everyone had been, that the human threat was over. He remembered the parties, the speeches, the relief that the galaxy was safe again. "How long do I have to decide?" he asked. "Our fleets will be in position in 6 weeks, Chen said. "If you're going to help us, we need that information soon." "And if I refuse?" Chen's expression softened slightly. "Then you leave here and never speak of what you've seen. We won't harm you for discovering our secret, but we won't let you warn them either." Joram looked around the command center one more time. Somewhere in the back of his mind, he realized that the galaxy was about to change forever. The humans were coming back, and they weren't the same species that had been destroyed 3 years ago. They were something much more dangerous. 2 weeks later, Joram sat in his ship's cabin staring at the datapad Admiral Chen had given him. For 14 days, he had carried it with him as he made his normal trading runs through Coalition space. Every time he docked at a station or planet, he gathered information about fleet movements and defense plans, information that could help humanity destroy everything he had ever known. His crystal body dimmed as he thought about the choice before him. The Coalition had committed genocide. That was undeniable. But they had done it out of fear, not evil. Most Coalition citizens didn't even know what had really happened to the humans. They just knew the galaxy felt safer now. But the humans were coming back. Whether he helped them or not, they were coming back. The only question was, how much damage would be done? Joram opened a secure communication channel to Luna Base. "Admiral Chen, this is Captain Joram. I'm transmitting the information you requested. 3,000 light-years away, in the new Kepler system, Commander Park Seo-jun received the alert on his command ship. The human colony there had been one of the secret ones, hidden from Coalition knowledge. For 3 years, they had been building warships in the asteroid fields where no one could see them. "Sir," his communications officer said, "we just received the Luna Base signal. Operation Ghost Protocol is now active. All fleets are ordered to final staging positions." Park nodded grimly. He was one of Earth's former naval officers, evacuated just hours before the bombardment began. His family had died on Earth, his wife, his 2 children, his elderly parents. They hadn't made it to the evacuation ships in time. "Signal the fleet," he said. "We move in 4 weeks." Around him, 50 human warships powered up their engines. They were beautiful vessels, sleek and deadly, built with technology that humanity had kept secret for decades. The Coalition thought humans were just lucky farmers who had stumbled onto faster-than-light travel. They had no idea that humanity had been studying alien technology and improving on it since first contact. Park looked out at his fleet and thought about Earth. Blue skies turned to ash. Green forests burned to nothing. Cities full of children reduced to radioactive glass. The Coalition would pay for what they had done. On the Vorthak homeworld, Admiral Vextar was reviewing routine intelligence reports when something caught his attention. Over the past month, several trading ships had reported strange sensor readings near abandoned human facilities, energy signatures that shouldn't exist, movement in systems that should be empty. "Commander Zilkan," he called, "have we sent any investigation teams to the human territories lately?" "No, sir," Zilkan replied, checking his files. Coalition policy is to leave those areas alone. Too many bad memories. Plus, there's nothing there worth investigating. Vextar frowned. What about these trader reports? Energy signatures near Luna Base? Strange ship movements in the outer colonies? Probably just automated systems finally shutting down. Human technology was always unreliable. It's taken 3 years for some of their machines to finally die. But Vextar wasn't convinced. He had been a military officer for 30 years. He knew the difference between dying machines and active operations. These reports sounded like someone was moving around in the dead human systems. Someone with advanced technology and careful operational security. Send a reconnaissance team to Luna Base, he ordered. I want to know what's really happening out there. Sir, that will require approval from Coalition High Command. It's a major policy change. Then get me approval. Something isn't right about this. Dr. Kim Min-jun worked frantically in his laboratory, 3 levels below Luna Base's main command center. Around him, his team of scientists put the finishing touches on humanity's new weapons systems. They had spent 3 years developing technology that would give them an advantage over coalition forces. The breakthrough had come 18 months ago when they realized that human evolution on Earth had given them unique advantages. Humans could process information faster than most alien species. They could adapt to new situations quicker. Most importantly, they could think in ways that aliens found unpredictable. Dr. Kim, said Dr. Lisa Zhang, one of his lead researchers. The quantum disruption weapons are ready for deployment. Installation on the fleet ships begins tomorrow. Good. What about the defensive systems? Adaptive armor plating is complete. Coalition energy weapons won't be able to penetrate it after the first few hits. The armor learns and adjusts. And way. Dr. Kim nodded. It wasn't enough to just survive the coming battle. Humanity needed to win so decisively that no one would ever think about attacking them again. The galaxy needed to learn that genocide was not acceptable. Any word on the psychological warfare systems? Ready for deployment. When the coalition sees what we've become, they won't just be outgunned. They'll be terrified. On the Nexari Crystal homeworld, Captain Joram met with his handler from Coalition Intelligence. The meeting took place in a quiet cafe in the capital city, surrounded by other crystal beings going about their daily lives. You seem nervous, Captain, said Agent Krixtal, his faceted body reflecting the light in complex patterns. Is everything all right with your trading routes? Agent. Fine, Joram said quickly. Just the usual stress of long-distance hauling. But Krixtal was trained to read body language and emotional resonance patterns. Something was definitely wrong with Captain Joram. His crystal matrix was fluctuating in ways that suggested deep guilt and anxiety. Have you noticed anything unusual in your travels? Any signs of pirate activity or rebel movements? Joram's crystal body flashed brighter for just a moment. A sure sign of deception among the Nexari. Nothing unusual. Dead space is still dead. After the meeting ended and Joram left, Krixtal made a note in his files. Captain Joram was hiding something. Something big. It might be worth investigating his recent flight logs. 3 weeks before the human fleets were scheduled to attack, cracks began appearing in the coalition's confidence. Intelligence reports from multiple sources suggested unusual activity in the former human territories. Some coalition species began asking questions about the bombardment of Earth. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Queen Zizakth received a delegation of her military advisors. The insectoid queen had always had doubts about the human extinction, but she had gone along with it to maintain unity in the coalition. Your Majesty, said General Thixar, our deep space monitoring stations have detected organized ship movements in 17 different systems, all former human territories. How many ships? Unknown. They're using some kind of stealth technology we've never seen before. Our sensors can detect that something is there, but we can't get clear readings on size or numbers. Queen Zizakth's compound eyes reflected her concern. Could it be pirates, using abandoned human bases as hideouts? Possible, but unlikely. The movements are too organized, too military, and the stealth technology is far beyond anything pirates would have access to. Send a message to Admiral Vextar. I want a full coalition intelligence review of the human territories. If something is moving out there, we need to know what it is. But it was too late for intelligence reviews. In 17 different systems, human fleets were already moving toward their targets. The ships were loaded with weapons the Coalition had never seen, and crewed by people who had nothing left to lose. Admiral Chen stood in Luna Base's command center, watching as reports came in from across the galaxy. 35 human colonies were ready. 50 separate fleets were in position. The weapons systems were online and tested. "Admiral," said Commander Torres, "we're receiving final confirmations from all fleet commanders. Everyone is ready for simultaneous jump. Any response from Captain Joram's intelligence package?" Coalition fleets are moving into their predicted positions exactly as he reported. They have no idea what's coming. Chen looked at the holographic galaxy map. The Coalition would discover that humanity was not extinct. They would learn that trying to genocide an entire species was a mistake. They would learn that some lessons could only be taught through overwhelming force. "Signal all fleets," she said quietly. "Operation Ghost Protocol begins in 6 hours. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you kill humanity's children." Admiral Vextar was reviewing morning reports when his ship's alarms suddenly began screaming. He rushed to the bridge of his flagship, orbiting the Vorthak homeworld, just as his sensor officer turned toward him with terror in his reptilian eyes. "Sir, we have contacts," the officer said, his voice shaking. "Multiple contacts. They just appeared out of nowhere." Vextar looked at the main display and felt his blood turn cold. 50 ships hung in space around his world, not Coalition ships. These vessels were sleek, black, and covered with weapons he didn't recognize. They had appeared without any warning from the detection networks. "Where did they come from?" he demanded. "Unknown, sir. They just materialized. Our sensors show nothing. Then, suddenly they're there." "What species? Vorthak? Nexari? Zephyrian?" The sensor officer checked his readings again, then looked up with confusion. "Sir, the energy signatures, they match human technology. But that's impossible." Before Vextar could respond, every communication system on his ship activated at once. The voice that came through was calm, female, and speaking perfect galactic standard. But it was definitely human. "People of the Coalition," said Admiral Chen, broadcasting from Luna Base to every world in Coalition space. 3 years ago, you tried to exterminate the human race. You believed we were a threat to your peace and safety. You were wrong about many things, but you were right about one. We are a threat. We are a threat to anyone who believes that genocide is acceptable. On 17 different Coalition worlds, human fleets had appeared simultaneously. The timing was perfect, the coordination flawless. Every major military installation was targeted. Every government center was surrounded. "My name is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Retaliation Fleet," the broadcast continued. "We are not extinct. We are not gone. We are here to teach you what happens when you murder innocent people." On the Nexari homeworld, Captain Joram sat in his trading post and watched the human ships fill the sky. He had known this day was coming, but seeing it happen still shocked him. The ships were beautiful and terrifying, like metal predators floating in the crystal blue sky of his world. His communication device beeped. Agent Krixtal's face appeared on the screen, crystal body flickering with panic. "Joram, are you seeing this? Human ships everywhere. How is this possible?" Joram looked at his former intelligence contact and made a decision. "Because we didn't kill them all, Krixtal. We just made them angry." "What? Joram, what do you know about this?" But Joram had already cut the connection. He walked outside his trading post and looked up at the human ships. Somewhere up there was Admiral Chen, the woman who had shown him what his people had really done. The woman who had trusted him with information that could destroy the coalition. He hoped she would show mercy. But he wasn't sure the galaxy deserved it. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Queen Zazakth watched through her palace windows as human warships took positions around her planet. Her military advisors buzzed around her in panic, trying to organize defenses that they all knew were useless. "Your Majesty," said General Thixar, "our fleet is outnumbered 3-1, and their technology, we've never seen anything like it. Our weapons can't even lock onto them properly." "How many ships total?" "Over 800 confirmed contacts across all 17 target worlds, possibly more we can't detect." Queen Zazakth closed her compound eyes. 800 ships. The coalition had thought they were destroying a few dozen human colonies. Instead, they had apparently been dealing with a massive civilization that had been hiding its true strength. "Open a communication channel to the human commander," she ordered. Admiral Chen's face appeared on the throne room's main screen. She looked older than in the intelligence files from 3 years ago. Her eyes held the cold anger of someone who had lost everything. "Your Majesty," Chen said politely, "I assume you want to discuss surrender terms." "Admiral Chen, I want to discuss preventing a war that will destroy both our peoples." "That war already happened, Your Majesty. 3 years ago. You won that war by committing genocide against my people. Now, we're here for the next phase." Commander Park Seo-jun stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Vorthak defense ships trying desperately to organize a response to the human attack. Their movements were clumsy and panicked. They had never faced an enemy that could appear and disappear at will. "Sir," said his weapons officer, "Dr. Kim's new disruptors are working perfectly. Their shields are completely useless against our energy weapons." "Good. Target their military stations but avoid civilian areas. We're here to send a message, not commit genocide ourselves." "Sir, several Vorthak ships are trying to ram us. They seem to think suicide attacks are their only option." Park watched the desperate enemy ships on his display. These were the same species that had burned his children alive on Earth. Part of him wanted to destroy them all. But Admiral Chen had been very clear about their mission. They were here to prove humanity's moral superiority, not to become the monsters that the coalition had feared. "Use the stun weapons," he ordered. "Disable their ships but don't destroy them. Let them live to spread the word about what they've seen." Dr. Kim Min-jun monitored the battle from Luna Base, watching as his new weapons performed exactly as designed. The quantum disruption technology was tearing through coalition defenses like they didn't exist. The adaptive armor was adjusting to enemy weapons faster than the coalition could modify their attack patterns. But the most effective weapon wasn't technological. It was psychological. For 3 years, the coalition had believed that humanity was extinct. They had celebrated their victory and moved on with their lives. Now, suddenly, humans were everywhere. They had appeared out of nothing with technology that seemed like magic. They moved like ghosts and struck like lightning. "Dr. Kim," said Admiral Chen, walking up to his monitoring station. "Exactly as predicted," Kim replied. "They're not just outgunned. They're terrified. Most of their commanders are requesting immediate evacuation rather than trying to fight. And civilian casualties? 0. Our precision targeting is working perfectly. We're destroying military assets while leaving civilian areas completely untouched." Chen nodded with satisfaction. This was the crucial difference between humanity and the coalition. When the coalition had decided humans were a threat, they had killed everyone. Men, women, children, elderly, all burned together. When humans decided the coalition was a threat, they carefully avoided harming innocents. "Signal all fleet commanders," Chen ordered. "Begin Phase 2. It's time to show them what we could do if we wanted to." Across coalition space, the human fleets suddenly changed their attack pattern. Instead of surgical strikes on military targets, They began demonstrating their full, destructive capability. Uninhabited moons were disintegrated with single shots. Asteroids were reduced to subatomic particles. Empty space itself seemed to crack and burn where human weapons fired. But not a single civilian was harmed. Admiral Vex Tar watched in horror as a human ship destroyed an entire moon with a weapon that seemed to tear holes in reality itself. The moon simply ceased to exist, leaving nothing behind but expanding gas and debris. "Sir," his communications officer said quietly, "we're receiving surrender requests from 6 different coalition fleets. They want to know if the humans will accept unconditional surrender." Vex Tar stared at the place where the moon had been. 3 years ago, he had believed that humans were dangerous because they were growing too fast and learning too quickly. Now he realized that the real danger was much worse. Humans weren't just more advanced than the coalition had thought. They were more advanced than anyone had imagined. And they had been hiding that advancement for decades, pretending to be simple farmers and traders while secretly developing technology that could destroy entire solar systems. "Open a channel to Admiral Chen," Vex Tar said. When Chen's face appeared on his screen, she looked calm and professional, like someone discussing a business transaction, not a galactic war. "Admiral Vex Tar," she said. "What do you want?" he asked. Chen smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "We want what everyone wants, Admiral. We want to make sure this never happens again." The surrender ceremony took place on Luna Base, in the same command center where Admiral Chen had planned humanity's return. Representatives from all 3 coalition species sat at a long metal table, surrounded by human guards and the quiet hum of monitoring equipment. Admiral Vex Tar looked around the room with amazement. For 3 years, the coalition had believed this place was a tomb. Instead, it had been the headquarters for the most sophisticated military operation in galactic history. "Before we discuss terms," Admiral Chen said, taking her seat across from the coalition delegates, "you need to understand what really happened 3 years ago." Quote, she activated a holographic display that showed Earth as it had been before the attack. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds swirling in a peaceful atmosphere. 8.2 billion human beings lived on this world, Chen continued. Farmers, teachers, children, artists, grandparents, people who had never hurt anyone, people who just wanted to live their lives in peace. The display changed to show the coalition bombardment. Plasma bombs, falling like rain. Cities burning. Oceans boiling. You killed them because you were afraid of us. You were afraid we were growing too strong too fast. You were afraid we might become a threat someday. Queen Zizok shifted uncomfortably in her chair. "Admiral, we thought. You thought we were primitives who got lucky," Chen interrupted. "You thought we stumbled onto faster-than-light travel by accident. You thought we were simple farmers who didn't understand real technology." Dr. Kim Min-jun stepped forward with another holographic display. This one showed human technology development over the past century. "For 100 years, Kim said, humanity has been studying alien technology and improving on it. We developed faster-than-light travel 30 years before we revealed it to you. We created energy weapons 50 years ago. We built quantum computers while you were still using mechanical devices." Admiral Vex Tar stared at the timeline. "You were hiding your capabilities? We were trying not to scare you," Chen said simply. "We thought if we revealed our technology slowly, if we showed you we were peaceful, you would accept us as equals. We were wrong." "But why hide it at all?" Queen Zizok asked. "Why not show us your true capabilities from the beginning?" "I. Close. Quai. Why? Quai." Chen stood up and walked to the window that looked out over the lunar surface. In the distance, Earth hung in space, still scarred and lifeless. "Because we learned something important when we first made contact with galactic civilization," she said. "We learned that advanced technology without wisdom is dangerous. We learned that species who develop weapons before they develop morality tend to use those weapons on others. She turned back to face the coalition delegates. We were trying to be responsible. We were trying to prove that we could be trusted with advanced technology. We were wrong to hide our strength, but we were right to fear your reaction to it. Commander Park Seo-jun entered the room and handed Admiral Chen a datapad. The final casualty reports. Admiral. Chen read the numbers and nodded. In the past week, human forces have engaged coalition military units across 17 worlds. We have disabled or destroyed over 3,000 coalition warships. We have eliminated 47 military bases and 12 weapons manufacturing facilities. The coalition delegates waited nervously for the rest of the report. Coalition military casualties. 4,000. 200 injured. 0 killed. Coalition civilian casualties. 0 injured. 0 killed. Admiral Vextar looked up in shock. 0 killed? How is that possible? We lost 3,000 ships. We used stun weapons and capture protocols. Chen explained. When your ships were disabled, we rescued the crews. When your bases were destroyed, we evacuated the personnel first. We went to great lengths to avoid killing anyone. But why? Queen Zizak asked. We killed billions of your people. Why would you show us mercy? Chen sat back down at the table. Because that's the difference between us and you. When you decided we were a threat, your first instinct was to kill everyone. When we decided you were a threat, our first instinct was to find a way to solve the problem without unnecessary death. Important. Dr. Kim activated another display. This one, showing the current positions of human fleets throughout the galaxy. We could have done to your worlds what you did to Earth, he said quietly. We have the technology to sterilize entire planets. We could have killed every coalition citizen in the galaxy within a week. But you didn't, Vextar said. No, we didn't. Because we're not like you. Captain Joram, who had been sitting quietly in the corner as an observer, finally spoke up. What happens now? You've proven you're stronger than us. You've shown you could destroy us if you wanted to. What are your terms? Admiral Chen leaned forward. Our terms are simple. The coalition government will be dissolved. A new galactic council will be formed with human oversight. Every species will have equal representation, but humanity will have veto power over any decision that could lead to genocide. You want to rule the galaxy? Queen Zizak asked. We want to protect the galaxy, Chen corrected. From anyone who thinks mass murder is an acceptable solution to political problems. What about our military forces? Reduced to defensive levels only. No species will be allowed to maintain a military force capable of exterminating another species. And if we refuse? Admiral Vextar asked. Chen's expression hardened. Then, we will do what we should have done from the beginning. We will impose peace, by force. There was a long silence in the room. The coalition delegates looked at each other. Then, at the humans surrounding them. Outside the windows, human warships patrolled the space around Luna Base like metal guardians. We need time to discuss this with our governments, Queen Zakth said finally. You have 24 hours, Chen replied. After that, we begin implementing the new system with or without your cooperation. As the coalition delegates were escorted to their quarters, Captain Joram lingered behind. Admiral, he said quietly, I want you to know that not everyone in the coalition supported the attack on Earth. Many of us had doubts. I know, Chen said. That's why you're still alive. That's why your worlds are still inhabited. We know the difference between soldiers following orders and leaders giving those orders. What happens to people like me? People who helped you? Chen looked out at Earth again, hanging silent and dead in the darkness of space. You helped us prevent a war that could have destroyed both our civilizations. You'll be remembered as a hero. I don't feel like a hero. Heroes rarely do. 24 hours later, the coalition delegates returned with their answer. They had no choice but to accept humanity's terms. The alternative was too terrible to consider. But as Admiral Chen watched them sign the new galactic charter, she felt no satisfaction. The new government would prevent future genocides. The galaxy would be safer. But Earth would still be dead. 8 billion people would still be gone forever. The humans had won their war for justice. But like all wars, there were no real winners, only survivors. And the survivors had to figure out how to build something better from the ashes of what came before. Dr. Kim Min-jun stood beside Admiral Chen as the ceremony concluded. "Do you think they've learned their lesson?" he asked. Chen watched as the coalition delegates shook hands with human representatives, beginning the process of building a new galactic government. "They've learned that genocide has consequences," she said. "Whether they've learned that it's wrong, that remains to be seen." "Thank you. And if they haven't?" Chen looked out at the human ships patrolling the space around Luna Base. Ships filled with weapons that could remake the galaxy if necessary. "Then we'll teach them again," she said quietly. "As many times as it takes."